Today I'm taking a look at the VEVOR stud welder dent puller. So we got our instructions. We got a little container. Oh, cool. So this is all of our consumables. Typically, you're going to take something like this. Actually got a bunch of different styles. So we got these triangle tips. You can just spin this guy and use it over and over. You just weld that to your sheet. And you can hook onto that and pop it loose. So that's cool. We also have simple washers. So it's basically going to do the same thing, except for you're just going to be using the entire surface of that. And then we got these guys. You weld the tip right to the sheet. Then you hook onto the eye and you pop that guy loose. But we have a ton of different options. And the nice thing about it is these are actually reusable. You can use these things many, many, many times before you actually have to replace it. We got some different heads, and so you can see this one has that slot cut out. That is going to be what wraps around these attachments. Got some threaded studs. We have another head, so this guy already has one of those installed. You can see it is threaded on the back, so this will attach to this slide hammer. You can see it'll thread right here onto the tip. So if this is welded on, all you would do is take this hammer, which is just a big weight, and you can tap that back and pull that dent out. Very nice weight to this guy too. We got a wrench and we got this wavy wire. This could be very useful if you have the right style head, but the idea is you would just weld every single point, and you got these hooks so you can pull on the other side so you can pull the whole thing out evenly. Very nice thing to have. We got our carbon rods. So these are basically just going to heat up. In the event that you have one of these things and it's not sticking properly, you might get a better result if you heat the metal up. That's what you would use this for. And here we have a hook. So you can attach this to the slide hammer and hook that onto those eyes and pop those guys out. So lots and lots of accessories, and I really like that they use this box to keep everything organized. Oh, that's interesting. So they actually included a suction cup. So if you just have a large dent, like maybe it just got pushed in, somebody sat on it, something like that, you could attach this to the slide hammer, suction that guy on, and then potentially pop that out. It appears that our handle is separate. That is a nice, heavy machine. And here's something I love seeing. This is the ground cable. This is a super thick cable. Quite often with any kind of welder, really, they usually cheap out on these cables. This is a very nice cable. Oh, here we go. So this is the head for this. So you would weld this guy on, take these hooks, hook it on, and you can pull everything out evenly. Very happy that they included this. Okay, so nothing in the back. It does say that that is 120 volts. We got our on-off switch here on the front. We got a switch for our carbon rod on the bottom, and then all the attachments on the top. We got a couple of lights, so we got on, we got spot, and then right here we got our dial for our different styles of welds that we're going to be doing. So that's cool. This is a nice and simple one. This is the ground. So basically what you're going to do, the idea with this style is that you would find a hole on the sheet that you're going to be welding to, then you would drop this through the hole and then use this nut to lock it on. As you can also see, we got a point on the end. As long as this thing is touching bare metal, you'll be able to still weld with this. There is a better attachment that I've seen, which is a magnet, so you would still have to get bare metal, but you just use the magnet to slap against it, and that would make your grounding connection. But this does work. There is nothing wrong with this. And then here is where the magic happens. So it's just a trigger, and we got a spot for our attachments on the other side. Now, typically what I will do is I will just attach the slide hammer directly to it. That way I don't have to keep going back and forth. I can just take the tip, weld, and then slap it back. It does make the whole thing feel a little bit heavier because you got that hammer on there, but it's just the most efficient way to use this machine. So the bolts for the handle are already installed on the top. You don't have to go searching for those, which is nice. And that guy is ready to go. So I got a piece of sheet metal. This is a shelf. I just kind of sand this guy down to metal to clean this off a little bit better. So let's put a dent in it. Now, it is worth keeping in mind that you're never going to get a piece of metal perfectly straight with a tool like this. What you are going to do is you're going to pull those bends out so that you can do the finishing work with your Bondo, your sander, and whatever other tools that you got. This is just to get everything much closer to the surface. Okay, we are on. So I got it on the tool switch. I got it pointing toward the top on the tool select. So, yep. Yeah, it's stuck surprisingly well. Just give it a couple twists and it should pop off. Wow, yeah, so that actually pulled it. So no issues there. She definitely sticks. I probably got it a little too hot. So let's go ahead and bring this down. So now we're at 1/4. Yeah. There we go. So much, yeah. When I had that halfway up, that was actually burning a hole through this metal. So this is fairly thin metal. That's why I chose to use it. But with this guy at 1/4 power, we're able to grab onto that still and not burn a hole through the metal. But you can see we have gone from an innie to an outie, so that is going to be much easier to repair. And just so you can see what I'm doing, I just put it right up, pull the trigger, and it does all the work. That sticks too well. There we go. So now let's say we had a bend like this. Now I can use that chisel tip, and we use these waves. So I'm just going to press it up to the metal. There we go. works pretty much the same way, but now we got a bunch of hooks stuck in there. Then we can attach the hook head. They got springs on there, so that's going to accommodate the different widths of whatever you put on there. But the idea is we just attach it to whatever slots that we need, and then we use it the same way. So that way we can pull out a nice consistent line. So let's try one of these carbon rods. So we're going to use this tip, and it just has a Phillips head screw in it, and drop the carbon rod in. You don't have to really torque that down because you can't just crack this thing and it'll fall out. So now we're going to switch it down to constant, turn it back on, and we will turn up the heat. There you go. So you can see that is just making fireworks. Oh wow, we actually cooked through it right there. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to play with the heat, preferably with some metal similar to what you're going to be using, because you don't want to be just burning holes through it. Although technically, having holes in there isn't really a bad thing, just because you're going to have the bond will stick to it better if it has something to actually purchase on. But this is going to heat that up so that you'll be able to go back in there and actually weld to it. Because it's a lot easier to weld to something that's hot than something that's cold. So yeah, overall that is an incredible tool. We got a whole bunch of different heads on there, a bunch of different options. You can see it's going to work extremely well. Like, this thing stuck better than the other one that I've tried. If I was going to be getting a spot welder today, this is definitely the one I would be looking at, just because of how well it actually stuck everything. So yeah, I'm happy with that.